So speaking of soundness, how do you handle when you need an equine veterinarian?
That is very difficult. We have some friends from the States who come down and help us out if we have a real problem, or they'll be down here doing a vacation and we'll come. Our vet who treats our horses is a large animal vet. Cows, sheep, goats, pigs, horses.
So he's got a wide palate.
He does. As I said to somebody, I said, I've never seen him misdiagnose. He might say a lot of times, I don't know what the problem is, but I've never seen him misdiagnose.
Wow.
But we don't have, our x-ray is a portable Polaroid machine that does not take very good x-rays. We don't have ultrasound machines. We don't have any of the fancy things. There have a few surgeries have been performed, some successfully, very few successfully, actually, because it's field surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Our kids, the pony clubbers, the people who are into riding probably have a much higher knowledge of how to deal, maybe not diagnosing, but how to deal with needs, health needs.
Just out of necessity, because they can't always just call the vet. Now, you also have one of the young ladies that's ridden in your here in the pasture for many years. She's now in vet school.
We have four of the former members of Pony Club have become vets. Unfortunately, 3 of them have stayed in the States.
Mm-hmm.
One is an exotic animal vet, and another one's an equine vet at a track in in Texas. But hopefully the one that's here now wants to come back home.
Well, I spoke with her earlier, and she said that's indeed what she wanted to do, was to come back to the islands and practice. St. Croix has had 2 riders that have ridden in Olympic Games. Can you tell? That's pretty special, considering how the size of the island and the opportunities for training here are somewhat limited, although you're rich in bringing clinicians in that are, clinicians to the ilk of Erin Vale and Suzanne Winslade with dressage, etc. So you do provide those kids with as much opportunity as you can, but to have 2 Olympic riders is wonderful. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
We've been really lucky, and my philosophy through the years has always just been, let's give them a good basis. Then they can't get the rest here. They have to go to the States and train in the States. They have to get their horses in the States. We have Richard Rader and Eric Broadnax, who have both been in the Olympics. Richard was probably one of the youngest Olympians. He finished the Los Angeles 3-day at age 19.
That is young.
And then right after that, they changed it. I don't think a 19-year-old can ride in the Olympics anymore, or an 18-year-old or something on this setting. Richard and Eric both started out riding racing, and he lived to be 40-some-odd years old. He's buried under a mahogany tree right over there. He's the only horse buried on this property. But they, as you say, we have been really lucky. We've had some of the best clinicians, and this has been through Pony Club, that a little community like us could have, and they've all been so generous in sharing their knowledge and ability with us. So
that's terrific.
It was hard, maybe not as hard for Richard as it was for Eric, who had to go to Korea. And Eric actually got his horse in New Zealand and took it to the United States and then back to Korea. And Richard bought a horse in the States. These kids don't come from a financial background where they can afford to go out and buy. And he bought a green horse and brought it completely along under the tutelage of what's his name? He's the young rider, Ralph Hill. Ralph saw that Richard had the right training. He got him to the right places. He coached him, and he found the horses for Richard, and he was terrific. Eric's father was very knowledgeable in horses and himself.
I know Eric's mother fairly well.
And so
We've
she-
worked together in the past, and she's a lovely, lovely lady. And we've changed locations. We've gone back down into Christiansted, different part of the island, to and this is in the background. You see Betty, but in the background it's a ruin of an old home. And Betty, I wanted to ask you a couple of things at the pasture that I forgot. I wanted to ask you about water in the island. Since you're surrounded by sea, how do you obtain your fresh water?
Most of our water is from wells, or you catch it. And when you catch it, it requires a cistern and a lot of roof space. Most of the homes have cisterns, and if you keep your horse at home, he drinks the same water you do. The well water can be good. It can be very brackish. It has full of a lot of mineral content.
That's interesting. So you have to be very careful when you turn that tap on. Certain times of the year, it's bucket washing only.
Always bucket washing.
Always bucket washing.
Almost always.
Okay. And how about farrier?
Farrier, all of our shoeing is cold shoeing. It's we do not have a hot chewer on the island. Most of us who have had hoof problems will have shoes made in the States somewhere, and then they're sent down. We order our shoes from farrier supply places in the States. Otherwise, we have to buy them, and they're keg shoes.
So it's much more difficult. Thank you.